Today, I want to tell you how to approach girls. But more importantly, I want to tell you how to do that without being scary, creepy, or intimidating. Unfortunately, the internet is full of videos showing hyper-aggressive, intimidating guys going up and talking to women. And it can be all too easy to think that if you want to approach cute girls in the street or out at a bar, that's the only way to go about it. Fortunately, that's not true. So if you'd like to learn how to approach women without being that guy that weirds women out or creeps them out or just makes them feel a little scared, keep watching to find out how. Last week, I was doing a coaching session with a client, and to maintain his anonymity, let's call him John. John was explaining to me that he really wanted to learn how to approach women, especially out during the day on the street, but he was really worried that, he was going to come across as a creep and that he was just going to make women feel uncomfortable and weirded out. And he didn't want to have that impact on women. He wanted women to like him and not be, that kind of guy that he'd seen around so much. And I can really understand where John's coming from. The truth be told, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of guys being hyper aggressive, like really intimidatingly forward when they walk up and approach girls, and they can say and do some pretty crazy things. And I see a lot of these videos, especially because these make for great videos, right? If you see a video of a guy walking up to a girl and saying, "Hey, I'd love to see your boobs. Will you show me your boobs?" And let's see how many women I can get in a day to show me her boobs. Or a guy just being like really direct, I think you're cute. What's your number? Give it to me right now. When you see a lot of guys being hyper direct like that, it's great viewing because everyone wants to see the guy that has the balls to do that crazy thing when he approaches a girl. No one really wants to see the opposite, which is a guy walking up to a girl, being really chill, being really relaxed, not saying anything crazy or wild or out there, just really relatively boring, just having a nice conversation with a stranger on the street. Not as many people want to see that, so videos like that don't rank as high. And indeed, what we're seeing in the media is I've seen pickup artists get reported to the police. There's even one recently that got arrested. I see that YouTube's starting to pull a lot of these videos of guys being hyper aggressive towards women. So I understand that men like John and possibly yourselves watching this feel that, the whole notion of men talking to women being vilified, right? And we're turning into a nanny state where men can't even say boo without risking being arrested. I understand that general feeling, but that's not necessarily quite what the case is. What guys like John and possibly yourself forget all too easily is that there is actually a very big difference between approaching a woman in a hyper-assertive, aggressive way or approaching a woman in a chilled out, casual, comfortable way. There's a really big difference between the two. And what women are actually wanting to do and what they're trying to fight for in government policy and legal policy and all this stuff is not to feel intimidated in public, not to feel scared or like they have to be cautious for their safety in public. Now, before I go on to explain this a bit more, I want to point out I am a big men's rights advocate. I am very aware that there are a lot of policies that are very leaving men, especially young men, in the dust and leaving men feeling very disenfranchised. I believe that. I'm not going to be a white knight saying women are lovely creatures and have done nothing wrong. Far from it. But I do want to bring some balance to this understanding because it's really important for you guys to understand. Most women, the majority of women, if you just have a talk to them, have had an experience of men being too sexually aggressive, scary, intimidating, pushing them into sex, coercing them into sex, like not necessarily to the point of rape, but where it feels like they've really been pushed into it. Of men pretending to be nice and be their friend, but then one day they just snap and do something really wild and crazy and unpredictable. And almost every woman has been assaulted one way or another, right? Whether it's like full-on sexual assault, whether they've been raped, or whether it's something more subtle. But every woman's had numerous scary experiences around men. And it really is scary because men are bigger. I mean, men are many times actually stronger on average. Obviously, if you're talking about a competitive weightlifting woman, it's different. But on average man is many times stronger than a woman. We have much bigger, broader shoulders with much more muscle mass in the upper body. And so, yeah, it is scary for a woman if a man starts to do something scary sexually around her. There's very little that she can do. Women are constantly aware of this strength disparity and size disparity. And so, given that fact, every woman has the experience that she needs to be cautious of strange men in the street. So for this reason, it is hyper important that we don't come across creepy, that we don't click any of those flags. If you're going around making women feel uncomfortable in public, I think it's fair that women don't want to have to feel uncomfortable and scared and nervous. And I think it's justified. A lot of men will argue, well, men are the victims of more physical assault than women. But the truth of the matter is that's only true when you count men who are already involved in dangerous activities. So men who are involved in drugs and crime and all this kind of stuff. When you eradicate that, women are still the biggest victims of like random assault. So going forwards, I asked John, all right, John, so we know that you don't want to be creepy, but what is creepy? What actually makes creepy? Do you know? And John he sat back and he thought for a while, creepy, what is it to be creepy? And he came back to me with an answer that I thought was pretty decent. He said, is creepy something to do with like untrustworthy sexual like advances? Is that kind of what it is? I actually thought that was a pretty good answer. That's a better answer than most men give me. And I thought he was close to the mark, but not quite there. Creepy manifests in this way. Creepy manifests when there is a nefarious desire in someone's head and they try to mask it with their body language and pretend to be a friend, right? So it's when there's a something going on duplicitous. And so, a perfect example might be, a stereotype would be a pedophile playing with a child, right? So a pedophile is playing children's games with a young girl or boy, and you can see by looking at them, they're playing a child's game, but you look at their body language and something isn't right. There's something nefarious going on. There's something a little bit lustful and untrustworthy happening. We know there's something dangerous going on inside the brain, and that's creepy. That's what creepy is. And women look for that because every woman who's felt abused or felt attacked by a man in her life has experienced this, of men trying to pretend they want one thing when they really want another, and they're masking deeper intentions. Now, women aren't mind readers. That's a good thing, probably, but they're not mind readers. But what they do is they look for inconsistencies in men. Now, unluckily for a lot of men, probably most of you watching, I don't believe most of you watching have negative, scary intentions for women when you walk up and talk to them. But unfortunately, what happens is a lot of men just like John, they watch a lot of pickup artist material that says, you've got to be the alpha dog. You've got to be the most confident guy in the room. You've got to project confidence. Every woman wants the most confident guy. Be that man. Control your body language exactly so you're confident. And then those guys, they go and they approach a woman that's feeling nervous as all hell. They're doing everything they can do to control their body language and control their speech so they look super confident. But what happens is, from a woman's perspective, what does she see? She sees a guy trying really hard to mask something going on internally. And that triggers the creepy response. And it scares women and it turns them off rapidly. So I gave the following advice to John, and John didn't like it when he first heard it. And you might not either. I said to John, all right, John, here's what I want you to do. I want you to walk up when you're going to do some approaches. I want you to go out and I want you to approach some women. But what I want you to say to them is this. I want you to say, hey, I know this is really awkward. I feel super nervous right now. But I saw you over here and I thought you were cute and I wanted to come and say hello. Now, while you're saying this, most of your body, don't worry. If you're fidgeting, don't worry. If you're kind of moving awkwardly from foot to foot, don't worry. If you stutter a little bit, don't worry. I'm not worried. All I want you to focus on is smiling when you talk to her and having really good quality eye contact. That's all. That's the only part of your body language I care about. For the rest, be nervous, be shy, be awkward, be you. And John didn't like this. And a lot of guys don't like to hear this because they've read so much that talks about how confident you need to be. But John said to me, all right, I'll give it a try. So I talked to John the next week. Next week, talked to him on Skype, one of our calls, and I said to him, how did you go? And he said, Damien, after our call, I've got to admit, I didn't think I was going to follow through. But I thought, I've paid you good money. I should try it at least once. He said, and I'm gobsmacked. He said, I talked to 10 women and, a number of them had boyfriends. A number of them said they had somewhere to go. He said, but miraculously, none of them were mean to me. He said, they were all pretty nice and pretty friendly. He said, it was bizarre. He said, when I was trying to be confident, I had a lot of women being really mean and really cruel. He said, but the second I was just nervous like me, he said, women were much friendlier. And what's more, I got into 2 really good longer conversations with girls out in the street, and 2 of them gave me their numbers. I'm gobsmacked. And most guys are gobsmacked because there's so much sort of detail, there's so much information flowing around the web to the contrary. The truth is that Some women require the most confident guy in the room. That is known as the most confident woman in the room. Hyperconfident women want hyperconfident men. That is fair enough. But most women aren't hyperconfident. Most women aren't walking around like feeling like $1,000,000. Most women are walking around feeling neurotic and insecure, just like most guys are. And so, yeah, they don't need that from their man. All they need is that they can trust you and that you've got balls enough to walk up and say hello. Once you got that, women are generally quite empathetic towards guys who are willing to make that move, even if they're nervous as hell. And so that's my big message to you today. Stop trying to be so confident. Stop trying to pretend to be something you're not. Stop trying to mask what's really going on inside and be you, right? Give good eye contact, smile, and women are going to be much friendlier to you. Now, I get it. Women will still reject you if you've got poor social skills. Women will reject you if you're not interesting to talk to. Women will reject you if you've got no sense of humor and the interactions aren't fun. But those are skills you can learn, and those are skills you don't have to be confident to use. So, I be careful, because I'm not saying you don't require any social skills. You do. You just don't need to be super confident about it along the way. Don't be that guy that's trying to hide who he is and what he really wants. Now, I know some of you will say, well, I have a friend who's super confident. I mean, I'm super confident, guys. When I approach women, I do not come across as nervous, because I'm really not that nervous anymore. But you'll say to me, I have a friend who's super confident. He does well with women, really well. It's true. Like, being confident is great. It doesn't hurt you so long as that's what you really feel. And so for all you guys right now, don't be approaching women on the street. If you're nervous and insecure, don't be approaching women trying to get sex. Don't be approaching women trying to get laid. Don't be approaching women thinking, how can I sexually escalate here? That's not a mission for you right now. You know what is a mission for the guys who are nervous and insecure? Is focusing on building connection, having fun, laughing, enjoying the interactions, connecting with another human being. When you get better at that stuff, your confidence levels will go up. And then you can work on the more advanced things, because you're not going to make social mistakes and creep her out and make her feel uncomfortable. So you can get much better results not focusing on the advanced stuff too early on. And in fact, I'll tell you this, when I first started getting into day game and doing a lot of daytime approaching, I come across very confident. I'm a well-trained public speaker, so it was easy for me to approach girls and be like, hey, you're really cute. I want to come and talk to you. What's your name? Really direct, really confident. I was great at it. But what was interesting is that when I actually purposely chilled out a bit, took a step back and became much more relaxed, and I approached women like, hey, I know this is a little bit awkward, but I thought you were kind of cute. I just want to come and say hello. I'm Damien. When I chilled out and relaxed and pulled back on the hyperconfidence a little bit, my results with women improved and increased. They didn't decrease, And so, yeah, look, you can go out and fake being super confident and talk to women. And if you do a really good job of it, you can get okay results. You can even become really pushy and intimidating with women, and you'll still get some results. The problem is you're also going to do damage along the way. And I know most of you watching, they don't want to be that guy. And not to mention, the world is changing. If you start intimidating women, there's going to be more and more repercussion for it. So why get involved in the first place? So that's all for today's video. Now, I highly recommend you check out 2 other videos of mine. One of them is the 90% attraction skills that men need to learn. Go ahead and check that out in the video over here. The other video is the secret to reading body language. There's actually a trick to being able to read a woman's body language that most body language guides never tell you. If you want to find out what that is, go ahead and click on the link down here. As always, if you've liked my channel, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to click the little bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I hope you've enjoyed what I had to say today. I'm Damien. Have a fantastic week.